Bruh, okay. Dude, Loki and Bob, though, let's go. What's going on, Cody? Welcome, Nathan, for reaction. And today, I'm going to be reacting to Game Theory watch this backwards to release the Devil Trombone Champ despite the game theorists. Now, this sounds really interesting, and I'm really interested to see this. It's always linked to the video in the description. I'm lost because the new channel. Smash that subscribe button. Let's go and check out Game Theory watch this backwards to release the Devil Trombone Champ.
And so it comes to pass. Weeks after the theorist wheel was forged, a new theory appears.
Bruh, dang,
a wacky
dude, you know
theory,
what?
one
Dude,
that
let's do
stands
this.
the fine line between camp and cringe.
Bruh,
A theory
camp
that
and
will
cringe.
rend the fabric that holds the algorithm together. So theorize that lore,
Dang,
brave
dude.
soul, so that you may rise. Rise to become
Bruh,
the
this is low-key
theory
kind of
champ.
interesting. Dude, the theory champ. Bruh, okay. Dude, Loki and Bob, though, let's go. Dude, perfecto. Nice.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory,
Dude,
the show that isn't here to
Game
cause any
Theory.
trouble and just wants you to toot that subscribe button and
Bruh.
truly be based. If you gotta giggle out of
Based.
any of those puns, let me introduce you to the funniest game you will ever play, Trombone Champ.
Everyone is
Oh.
talking about Sonic Frontiers and God of War Ragnarok.
Right.
Everyone be sleeping on Trombone Champ.
Seriously, Game of the Year 2022.
Dang, dude,
Honestly, I
okay.
had no idea what to expect when I went into this thing. Heck, I'd never even
Oh.
heard of it before head editor Dan showed it to me. But
Dude,
what I
Dan.
found was a wonderful world of music, mayhem, and of course, memes.
Yo, I got a sack.
In case this one passed you by, Trombone Champ is, quote, the world's first trombone-based rhythm game. Basically, it's
Dang.
Guitar Hero's socially awkward cousin. You get to play a variety of music tracks
Guitar Hero's socially awkward cousin. Oh my goodness.
from the national anthem to dubstep, all while using your
Bruh,
mouth
Guitar
to
Hero
imitate the
was a
slide of
vibe.
the trombone. Never realized
That
that,
and Rock
trombone
Band.
dubstep was a thing that I needed in my life, but hey, here we
Right?
are. The game also has a weird obsession with hot dogs, baboons, and is filled
Bruh,
to
hot
the brim
dogs?
with trombone facts.
Trumpet.
Let's go.
As you can tell, it is a lot of fun to play this game, and obviously, it's not designed to be taken seriously. Or is it? You see,
Oh.
as soon as we started the game, all our expectations were thrown out the window.
Strap
Bruh.
in, friends,
Whoa.
for the gaming
Ooh.
event of the year.
So it comes to pass.
I'm sorry.
Dang.
One day you will stand before two baboons.
No one.
Wait,
Oh, there is.
did the ominous voice say you will stand between two baboons? What is happening?
Lore.
That's right. A simple game of playing copyright neutral music using the instrumental equivalent of fart sounds has decided to join
Right.
the lore party. And so, from that moment on, it became my life's mission to figure out what the game described as the mysteries of the Trombaverse.
Yes.
Oh,
Wait,
Yes,
the
Trombone Champ
Trombaverse?
This is the way.
What is
Trombone
happening?
Theory is dissecting this game important?
This
no.
is
Will it help
amazing.
forward mankind in any way? Certainly not. But am I gonna take the lore of a silly trombone game way too seriously anyway?
Right.
You bet your sweet sack butt I am. That's the
Oh.
original name for the trombone, by the way. Guess where I learned that? Trombone Champ. Entertaining and
Dude, yeah,
educational.
sack butt.
So I grinded my boning a bunch in order to figure out this game's lore. A story that's filled with toots, hot dogs, and baboons for some reason.
Hot dogs are
Can't forget
important.
the
I
baboons.
don't know how.
And baboons, because they're relevant to tromboning.
I don't want to toot my own horn
a
here.
good point.
Actually, I do because, you know, that's how you win the
But
game. But I
it's-
came up with some shocking discoveries. Specifically,
Did
that
what?
becoming the titular trombone champ ain't all it's cracked up to be. By
Dang.
merely beating this game, we're actually responsible
Allegro.
for the total destruction of music as we
Fast.
know it. Grab a hot dog, friends. We've got ourselves a Trombaverse to save. To solve the true lore of this game, we need to go back to basics and ask
Trombaverse.
one very simple question. Why trombone? Why trombone? Why trombone, though? Sure,
That's
it's
a
a
good
funny
point.
instrument that makes for some chaotic, meme-worthy gameplay,
Great
but believe it or
instrument.
not, there's actually a deeper meaning behind it all. If you weren't like us
Ooh.
and giggling like a bunch of band kids in the back of the orchestra, you'll know that in
Dang.
the opening scene, we're sent on a grand quest to become the trombone champ, to rend
got
the
a
very
plastic
fabric
trombone.
that binds this land. It's essentially a holy quest. It's up to us to free the world of whatever evils before us. Believe it or not, trombones have a history with this exact thing. In the 16th century, large mixed
Wait, what?
instrumental ensembles, what we'd later call orchestras, were coming
Right.
into existence. One of their main purposes was performing oratorios, basically a concert-style opera without the
Combination,
musical
yeah.
theater performances. Back then, oratorios were primarily Christian in nature, telling stories from the Bible like the Israelites in Egypt, King Saul, or the death and resurrection of Jesus. And you want to guess what instrument was introduced as an integral part of these sacred pieces?
Trombone.
The trombone. In fact, they were
The
often
sack
given the
butt.
solos in church music, as the trombone was considered to be a symbol of God himself or some other supernatural
Dang.
phenomena. So, looking at the quest that we've been put on, it only makes sense that we would be given a trombone in order to free the
Bruh, dude, like all the like backstory and history, dude. Oh my goodness, dude,
world.
learning.
It's the instrument that was chosen to represent the voice of God. Kind of makes me feel bad about all those fart jokes from the intro. Armed with the voice
Right?
of God as our instrument, we set out on our journey, tooting our way through songs and then clicking on everything in sight. By doing that, we come across the two baboons that I talked about earlier, Bassmaster Ben and Tootmaster Tom. Not our Tom. He had a bit of trouble with his tooting.
Dude, Tootmaster Tom, let's go.
Yeah, this is
Bro, I love this game already.
Sidebar.
Yeah, what's going on?
This game is amazing.
I don't know what this is, but it is embarrassing.
Maybe it's a British thing. The baboon version of Tom seemed to have a bit of amnesia, so he isn't overly helpful. But Bassmaster Ben proceeds to lore dump
Bassmaster
all
Ben.
over us. He
Bro, I'm
informs
gonna
us
play
about
this
the origins
game.
of music, the battle of good against evil, and then name drops Mozart.
Oh, wait, Eine
That's a
Kleine
little
is a
random.
Mozart song.
Clearly, Mozart is important to this world's
Yeah.
lore. There's just one issue. We're never explicitly told why
His
this classical
compositions.
composer of all of them is so critical to the Tromboverse. But then again, this is game theory. We exist to find out the why of it all. You
The
see, for
why.
a long time, trombones were just stuck in the realm of sacred music, like I mentioned before. One
Right.
does not simply put the instrument
Jazz.
of God into any old Rihanna pop song. You know?
Yeah.
However, eventually there were two men that changed that. The first was Christoph Willibald Gluck, who put trombones into his ballets. Might be hard to believe, but ballets back in the day were the cool hit music. That said, Gluck wasn't exactly the first. The composer
Ooh.
most synonymous for taking the trombone out of his own sacred music and
Dang.
putting it directly into the orchestra of his operas was the main man himself, Mozart. He was inspired
Mozart.
by Gluck's use of trombone in ballets, and in turn, Gluck was
Those
inspired by
eyes.
Mozart's use of it in the opera orchestra.
Bro, these
and
eyes,
in this one
though.
move, the floodgates opened to make the trombone a mainstay in orchestras to this very day. Going
Mm-hmm.
from oratorios to opera was like going from off-Broadway to Broadway. The trombone was suddenly in
Right.
the big leagues. It could be argued that without Mozart, there would be no,
No trombones in
trombones as we know them
orchestras.
today.
Yeah.
He literally gave rise to it as an instrument in classical music. Without Mozart, there is no trombone champ. However, while Bassmaster Ben keeps Mozart's role in all of this vague, he's more than willing to spill the beans on another character, Mozart's doppelganger, an evil counterpart that leads a group known as the Forces of Order, ones who sought to take control of the music, splitting the harmony in two, creating order over freedom. His name is Trezum, just Mozart backwards. Fun fact, I actually pulled his tromboner card on the first try.
Oh,
Bro, did you say
immortal
tromboner
guardian
card?
spirit, tasked with preserving the order of the bass and treble clef as a guardian
Bro, dude, this is amazing.
spirit, unable to eat hot dogs, imbued with the power of at least 10.
But while it was certainly
What?
awesome to pull such an important card on my first try, it didn't feel the same as the excitement that you get from pulling a great card from a
Right.
physical booster pack. Fortunately,
Yeah.
I got to scratch that very itch thanks to our sponsor for
Get
today's
the
episode, Battle
Pokemon
Spirits
card.
Saga, a brand new competitive card game that combines
Woo,
high-level
that
strategy
transition,
with incredibly artistic
though.
designs. The gameplay focuses around using cores for basically everything. Your life, your attacks,
Right.
everything revolves around how you manage the number of cores that you have throughout the game.
Bro, that
Battle
sounds
Spirits Saga was
amazing.
kind enough to send me some to check out for myself, and I gotta
Bro,
say,
okay.
illustrations are super clean. They have a
Whoa,
really high quality, and
those
the designs
do look
overall
really
are complex, but
good.
still visually appealing. The cards themselves are also
The
super
foil
high
cards are
quality, not too
amazing.
flimsy like they're gonna rip if I ever take them out of a case. I even got an ultra rare card in my box, the Absolute Ice Shield, which has got some awesome abilities that gives me an
Dang.
advantage in my next battle, like restoring your life
It
when
looks
you're
like
in a
a
tight spot and
mix
ending
between,
your
like,
opponent's onslaught early. But
Pokemon
most
and
importantly of all,
Magic
these
the
cards aren't
Gathering
just great to
almost.
look at and play with, they're also filled to the brim with my favorite thing, lore. This brand just really understands
Can't.
me. Each character
This
and
is
card plays a
amazing.
part in a much wider story of a world that was once in harmony. However, the
Whoa.
6 realms are now
This is
entering an age of
amazing, this
unrest
card
and
game.
civil war, and it's up to us to pick a side and lead them to victory. Each realm is home to different kinds of creatures, like the realm of flame is home to dragons, while the realm of frost houses sentient machines. So
Brother
really cool
Frost.
story with a lot of gameplay variety. And as more cards get released, we're watching as the lore unfolds more and more.
Dude,
So
okay.
if you want to get into a brand new card game right as it's beginning and collect some cool cards
Bruh, I
while you
kinda
do it,
do.
then I recommend you go and check out the link down in the description below so that you can purchase your cards as soon
But
as
that
they
sounds
release on
amazing.
April 28th. That said, if you really can't
Oh, it's
wait,
just
there
now
are a number of stores
releasing.
listed on the website that are offering early access to the cards. Why? Because then you can start practicing early, and that's going to be helpful when you have a chance to enter the Battle Spirits Saga cash prize tournaments. Cash prizes vary by location, but if you enter the
dang.
Las Vegas tournament, there's a chance to win $25,000 for first
To
place, with cash
Vegas.
prizes available for anyone that makes it into the top top 128. That is a massive amount of money that they're
Right,
planning on
for a
giving
new
away.
game.
That's not even the end of it. After the game launches,
For a
they're
new
planning on
game,
hosting a
that's
tournament with
amazing.
a total prize pool of $1 million. So you do not want to miss out. Once again, head on down to the description, sign up for the tournaments, go and grab yourselves a deck, and start battling. I gotta say, it would be super cool to see some theorists on those tournament podiums and winning a life-changing amount of money. Get in on the ground floor so you can capture all that money and these brand new rare cards all for yourself. Thanks again to Battle Spirits Saga for sponsoring that part of the video. And now we should probably go back to looking at the weird evil twin Mozart card in Trombone Champ.
Right.
The idea of Mozart having himself an evil twin is a strange one in the eyes of history, but if you take a look at Mozart as a composer, it starts to make a lot more sense. Mozart was obviously one of the most influential composers ever. He literally transformed classical music. Before him, there was a focus on gallant style music, which returned to simplicity and wide appeal.
Bro, Mozart just shook that up.
This was a massive shift away from the complex music that came before as part of the Baroque period.
And the Renaissance, all that good stuff.
What Mozart did was push music back towards a more complex structure by using chromatic harmony, which can sound very grating to your ear if it's not used correctly. Within an octave, you have 12 notes. However, most music only uses them within a given key. Those are called the diatonic notes, and they all sound nice when combined together and climbing up the musical scale. By contrast, in chromatic music, a composer throws all of that music theory out the window and uses more than just the 7 diatonic notes, regardless of the key.
Yep. Do Mozart.
Needless to say, it can get quite chaotic. It isn't typically what you'd consider when thinking about structured music. Mozart was also famous for improvising, performing with half-finished music on the spot because he couldn't meet his deadlines. His piano concerto is a prime example of this, where the bass clef has literally no music written, but during performances, it magically has itself a bass line. Just gotta figure it out.
Bruh, what? Dude, let's go. Bro, that's a bop. Dude, that is such a bop.
And while Mozart was indeed a fantastic composer and pianist, not meeting deadlines, making it up on the spot, using notes that are outside the realm of the normal notes, that is the antithesis of what I'd call order, which is why Mozart is considered to be one of the heroes of our story here in Trombone Champ. He was all for freedom in music, making it up, breaking the rules to create new and interesting compositions in spite of the world around him. Trombone then represents the order that Mozart fought against, the music of the day that was simple and structured but lacked interest or complexity. This is what we're fighting for in the game. The same freedom to hit a bum note and call it a harmony. At least that's what I assume Tom was going for here.
What happened?
I don't know.
Were you lying to me about all this?
No, I saw it yesterday. Dude's choking on stream, man.
Okay, so we want to be on the side of Mozart and defeat his evil twin, the boring counterpart Trombone, but how then do we do that? Bassmaster Ben explains that he and Tom are protectors of one of the two major clefs in music. Those little musical symbols that you find at the start of a music sheet. Tom is the keeper of the treble clef, and Ben is in charge of the bass clef. And we're told that we have to master both in order to restore the music to its former glory. The treble clef is used when you want to play higher-pitched voices or high-pitched instruments like the flute or the violin. The bass clef indicates the musician should be all about that bass, playing lower notes on instruments like the tuba, or obviously enough the bass guitar. Composers need to use both the bass and the treble clef in order to create the greatest range of sound possible, and therefore get more complex harmonies. And you see, this is yet another reason the game's only possible with trombones. The trombone is one of the few instruments that can seamlessly transition across both the bass and treble clefs. In many ways, it unites the grand staff. Instruments like the piano can also play on the grand staff, but the trombone is the only one that can seamlessly slide all the way from the highest treble notes to the lowest bass in a single breath rather than hitting isolated keys. True to the story of the game, the trombone is quite literally the only instrument that can restore harmony. So we do exactly that. We unlock the powers of bass and treble by playing lots of songs, we collect hot dog cards because apparently that's our power level metric in this game, and we play one final song, a dubstep
this sounds amazing, dude. Oh my goodness. Lore, trombone, almost like Guitar Hero. Like, this game looks fantastic.
Version of Eine kleine Nacht music by none other than Mozart, a song that contains a musical battle in its first movement between the tonic key of G and the dominant key of D, with G ultimately winning out. And thus we defeat Trombone for good, becoming the tromboniest tromboner that ever did toot. Hooray! For once, a game theory that doesn't have itself a bad ending, like we were the villain the whole time.
And the two clefs merged into something new. something never before
Dang, dude, yo, what?
Hold on, wait a
Yo,
minute.
did that
Merge?
just
Something
happen?
never was.
And a new era begins.
Bruh. Oh, dang,
An
dude.
uncertain era.
Bruh, dang, dude, yo,
Uncertain
what?
era?
Yo,
Doesn't
did
sound
that
like we
just
saved the
happen?
day.
Dude,
Have we been
that is
lied to?
interesting.
You bet your sack butt we have.
Bro,
We've been
you bet
lied
your
to
sack
every
butt.
step of the way. First of all, the idea of one clef to rule them all has never been a
Bruh,
thing in human history.
right.
There actually used to be even more clefs than the standard two that we know now. Bass and treble clefs are formally known as F and G clefs. There's also an alto clef that sits right there in
Yeah,
the middle, which
alto,
is called
tenor.
the C clef. Shout out to all my violists out there, what?
Oh
But when
my
music
goodness.
was first being written down in a way that would help to show the
Tenor
rhythm and
clef,
pitch, any
too.
note from A to G
Oh.
could be its own clef, meaning that there were 7 clefs available for a variety of instruments. Simplifying it down to 2 made a whole lot of sense because it
Right,
allowed for
it
easier reading of
combined them.
music and simple but effective harmonies, while still covering the ranges of most instruments and singers. But simplifying it any further, suddenly this whole thing is useless. Most instruments
Right.
only have themselves a small range,
Oh,
either
dang,
low or
dude.
high, and there aren't enough lines on a single staff to convey all the possible higher-low notes available
Right.
to all of those instruments. Combining the clefs like we just did in Trombone Champ will lead to music that looks like this, which is hard to read on the fly. The F and G clefs also inform you of what each line represents. Combining them means that lines suddenly have themselves double meanings, leading to
Oh
all
my
sorts of chaos and
goodness.
confusion for musicians and composers alike.
Bruh, can you imagine that, dude? Is that James Hetfield, dude? Can you imagine James Hetfield, like, reading stuff like that, dude?
I suspect was the point
Nah.
all along. Listen to the ending of this game.
And so the trombone champ forged
Oh,
an
dang,
alliance.
dude.
Out of context, but becomes a whole lot more sinister once I introduce the last random character that appears
Right.
in this title. You see, there's one other tromboner card that's thrown into the mix. One that seems completely random and arbitrary and just there to carry on the baboon memes. The Babby card.
Babby.
It reads as follows.
what is
Quote,
Babby?
This ancient Egyptian deification of the Hamadryas baboon, whose name translates to bull of the baboons or chief of the baboons, was a deity of the
Bruh, dude, Loki, like, chief of the baboons. That is so interesting.
underworld and is very relevant to this trombone game. Oh, is he? Or is this just a joke? Nope, he is very relevant. You see, Bassmaster
Bruh.
Ben tells us that Babby was the one who created a way to
Oh.
control the nature of music, to keep it away from the Trezoms of the world. What he doesn't
Dang.
tell us is that Babby, the real-world baboon god, was known for 2 major
Bruh, the
things.
baboon
first
god.
was virility, because the Hamadryas baboons just had really high libidos. Thus, he was depicted with his, tromboner exposed, if you catch my drift. But he was also known for ferrying souls of the dead to the underworld, using his mighty
Bruh, what?
trombone as the mast of the ferry, like some sort of genital pirate. You see, Babby was the firstborn son of Osiris, god of the dead. Thus, Babby wasn't benevolent at all. Instead, he's
Oh,
said to be,
dang.
quote, very bloodthirsty, living on entrails, devouring the souls of the sinful. All Babby
Bruh, that's
wants
terrifying.
is destruction and chaos. Hence, why he would want to combine the clefs. He's creating
Right.
chaos, confusion. Music has been around since the very dawn of man. It can help people cooperate and coordinate. It boosts your mood with oxytocin. It
That's
helps
true.
us to empathize with others, and it helps bring people together. And Babby
Yes.
wants to tear all of that
Dude,
down.
Babby.
I mean, I've talked this whole
Sus.
time about trombones being considered a sacred instrument, but I think we all know how unruly the trombone section of any high school band can be. If anyone is out there to help destroy the music, they're there to provide.
Yup.
As a result of our actions, society as we know it will crumble. The baboons will have won. You might be the trombone
dang,
champ, but
dude,
you have
the
killed music in the
baboons.
process. If only we had just stopped laughing like idiots every
Right.
time they said the word tromboner. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for
Dude,
watching.
that is so
And hey, if you don't want to
interesting.
get off the
Dude,
meme
did
train
that
just
just
yet, you can go
happen?
watch our video proving that red is
Dang.
actually sus in Among Us. That video is over on your left. But if you're like me and you
Oh,
just want to get
dang.
after more lore, you can always watch our video on the right where I break
Bruh, dude, like, all the lore. Oh my goodness, dude, this is incredible.
down the
like,
creepy hidden secrets
Dude, the
of
game
Roblox
theory is
doors.
dope.
There's a new update out there, so maybe we were proved right. To find out, you're gonna have to watch
Dude,
that
right.
one. As always, my friends, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next
Ooh.
week.
That was so amazing and so incredible, dude. Like, Trombone Champ, dude, there's so much lore in that. It was like Guitar Hero, but with trombone. I think that is so fantastic and so amazing, dude. Like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, all the logic, dude, the hot dogs, dude. Like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, so much information in that I think was so amazing and so incredible. Like, game theory with all this logic as well, I think was so incredible. That was like so amazing, so fantastic. That was like so amazing. But what do you guys about game theory? Watch this backwards to release the devil trombone champ. Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, click that bell to turn notifications. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next reaction video.